Hey everybody. In today's video we're going to talk about Google Docs. Just do like a quick tour of the interface. The tutorial that this will be accompanying, or the page and the text that this will be accompanying, is the Google Docs tour in Chapter 3. So in the main text page you can click word processing here or here and then go to Google Docs tour, and this is it. So I left a link here to get to Google Drive, but to get there is pretty easy. You just type drive.google.com and then you'll get there. Or click this link alternately. Good idea to bookmark Google Drive so that you can access it quickly. I have it already open here. See drive.google.com right here. This is all you'd have to type. You can probably just type the word drive into Google, into a search engine, and it will take you straight there. Drive.google.com, sign in. If you're already signed in your Google account, you will just immediately be taken there. So this is what the basic Google Drive interface looks like. Let's just real quick explore some of what's going on here. Right now I have one file in here. At the top it shows you your most recent stuff, and at the bottom it actually shows you the contents of your drive. One thing I highly recommend y'all do is create a folder for each of your classes that you're going to be using Google Drive with. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. You can click on the New button on the top left and hit New Folder, or right click on the desktop or out in this area here and hit New Folder. And I'll just create one for ITECH 100. And this works exactly the same as a file manager in Windows. You can click and drag files. I'll take this file, click and drag it, and plop it down inside that folder, and now it's in there nice and safe and sound. And I'm going to go in there by double clicking on the folder, and here we're going to create a new document just so that we have something to play with. So you can create any new files. You can either hit right click out in here to create a new file. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do in Google Apps. There's just an absolute metric ton of different apps that are potentially connectable with your Google Drive, even some third-party apps that are not affiliated with Google necessarily. Google is pretty cool about opening up their APIs to everybody else so that they can make their own apps. So we'll create a new Google Docs. As a side note, you can create from a document from a template too, so you can do like resume templates and things like that, and we'll look into that later on in the term. But for now, just click right over here instead of hitting that little arrow. So here's a document. You've got a few different things you can do here. Let me bring up my notes. So let's take the quick tour. Right at the top is the title of your document, and that's how it'll be saved in here. So let's say my first document, enter, and that saves it, and you can see it'll say it is saving right here, and it'll give you a couple of other options. You can star it so that it is like it's given priority. You can move it to another folder, and you can see whether or not it's saved or not. And you notice now that I've changed the name of the document, it actually appears in my Google Drive here. Notice I'm clicking back and forth between these two tabs. So this is my Google Drive, and this is the document that I have open. Let's work our way down. We've got a kind of a classic style drop-down menu toolbar. So the menu bar has a lot of different features, like how you can edit, undo, redo, copying and pasting is all here. You can change the view of the document, like you can go to full screen view, which will hide all of those controls. You hit escape to get back out of it. So you can have distraction-free writing. You can show a few other different kinds of interface objects on insert in the insert menu, and this is kind of analogous to the insert tab in Microsoft Word. You can do things like insert images. You can search them from the web. You can upload them from your computer. You can get them from your Google Photos, from your Google Drive. You can get it from the camera. I can load up the camera on my computer, and it says no camera selected. Well, that's interesting. It's probably because my webcam's in use right now. you can insert tables, you can create new drawings, charts, and things like that. So, like from Excel or Sheets, I suppose, and special characters and things like that. So, you can do text formatting. In here, of course, a lot of your most popular, most commonly used text formatting options are right here on the button bar, which we'll talk about in just a second. You've got a spelling and grammar checker. You can check your word count. So there's a whole bunch of different things here. Dictionaries programmed in. You can do voice typing, which is pretty neat. I don't know how that works. Does this work? Check this out. I don't know. I think my mic's busy with this recording this video, so it doesn't work for us right now. But lots of different little bells and whistles, and of course it's infinitely extensible. I encourage you from time to time to click on Get Add-ons and see what some of the popular add-ons for Google Docs are. Underneath that, we have our toolbar. These are our most commonly used tools. I can print, I can do format painting, I can use different text styles, change the font and font size. Notice the default font for Google Docs is Arial, unlike Microsoft Word, which is Calibri, if you're into typesetting and things like that. Font size 11 is pretty standard. Sometimes people want 12. You've got bold, italic, and underline. You can change the highlighting color. You can change the text color. Change text alignment here. You can change line spacing options, adding lists, numbered lists and bullet lists, and changing the indentation. I mean, these are the most common things that you're ever going to kind of run into, and they're all kind of right here in a very clean, no frills interface, which kind of hides the fact that Docs actually is about has about feature parity with Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word looks like it has more buttons, but it doesn't actually have any features that that Google Docs can't emulate. See, there's a lot more bells and buttons and things here, but most of it's taken up by this garbage over here, which we don't have to worry about. And we'll talk about the difference between Microsoft Word and Google Docs a little later on in the term, because for what it's worth, Microsoft Word is still kind of the industry standard. I think that Google Docs is very likely to overtake it, though, if not this year, then in the next couple of years, especially prompted by this global pandemic. So next is the toolbar, or the ruler. The ruler kind of is there for like typesetting and layout of your texts. So, I mean, I guess I can't do it that way. Let's zoom out as much as I can. Nope. Let's go to 50%. Yeah, I want to see the whole page. So this is a sheet of paper. This is like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's kind of the default page layout. So these two rulers, the one down the left-hand side here and the one along the top here, shows you exactly where the text is going to appear on a sheet of paper if you were to print it out. And okay, so on the right-hand side we have a scroll bar, which you can drag it to scroll, but most people will just use the scroll bar or your finger if you're on a Chromebook or have a touchscreen interface. Mostly it just tells you where you are in the document. The blinky line here, that is called the insertion point, which is a piece of terminology that not many people are familiar with, and that is just where you type. That's where text will appear. So that's kind of the basic rundown. There's not that much. I mean, Docs isn't a hugely complicated program, and I think that we're going to get into some cool stuff that you can do with it. But at its core, it's really, really simple to use. And the one really awesome feature is that no matter what you do, watch this little bit right up here when I type something. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And notice how it says saving and then saved to drive. So it saves automatically. Anytime you type, you don't have to worry about losing any work. If there's a power outage, as long as or something happens, your computer crashes, as long as that completes its little saving status, it'll as long as it completes its upload, you're never going to lose any work, and your file will be safe here in Google Drive. I can close it, close the tab completely, and then reopen the document, and all of my work will still be there. You never have to actually tell it to save. One other thing to point out is how to get files. So if for some reason you need to download a file as something other than a Google Doc, you can hit the File menu and come down to Download, and you can get it down to your computer as a Word document, an Open document, a PDF, which is really useful for certain things like resumes and whatnot. Download it as a web page. So there's lots of different options for what file format Google Docs is capable of exporting to. So it's actually a really slick interface, and I think that I think you can get a lot of mileage out of it. One last thing is you can share a document to be editable by anybody. I can create a link. So anyone with a link can edit, can even edit. I can share this document with people, or I can add specific people with their Google accounts to this document, and that will allow them to edit the document so you can collaboratively work on stuff. I used to do this all the time in grad school, as we'd use a Google Doc so that everybody could work on. We had like 5 people editing the same document at once. We're all like set up to edit different parts of the document. That's a really great way to collaborate on essays. Each document comes with a little chat window that you can use. Right? No, that's not it. There's a way to do a chat window. Oh, here it is. Boom. So you can comment on the document here. You can. There's a way to do a chat window, but I haven't shared the document. Maybe that's why there's no chat window. We'll figure some cool things out as we move through the term, and I hope this has been helpful. We'll see you in the next video.